Hello and welcome to show number 10 of At the
Yeah.
Picnics. And we've got a very, very, very special guest this week, Danny. We'll call him royalty, I reckon. And before we introduce him, Danny, here's Danny Walker and her lovely daughter Zoe. And Danny's in her hoodie. I'm jealous. And Zoe, I think, is in her onesie. And you've just got caught out in this horrible weather, Danny, feeding your horses.
Yep, we certainly did. I even had to go and change all the summer canvases into winter doonas and jumped into the hoodie after a nice hot shower to warm up after being soaked completely through.
Oh, it is
Boots,
horrible.
socks, the whole works.
It is horrible.
Who would have thought we were in February? God help Hillsville. We'll all start praying. It has to be Hillsville races if the rain is pouring. And let's just hope we're all there on Saturday to see the club get their first meeting underway for the season after a really, really rough start with some horrific weather for the year.
If it's not, Danny, they have just been cursed because it's not looking good. It's going to rain all tonight, all tomorrow. So let's hope we can get on Saturday. We'll just quickly talk about what happened last week. So on Thursday, we had the Balnarring Cup, and congratulations to Hammer Springs, who's trained by Mark Stevenson. Very easy, comfortable win in that race. Congratulations to Marie Melody Pomerard, who's won the Balnarring Cup 2 years in a row. Good on you, Marie. Yep. And first win was Jasmine Trenwith with only, I believe, her second ride. So that
yes, it was. Both of those horses on form looked really, really solid. Hammer Springs was really lucky to get into the cup, possibly unfortunate for the rest of us. But due to the ballot conditions, although it was the top weight, I think you've got to have had a couple of runs at the picnics to get a start. And unfortunately, we had scratching, so it did. So
it was the second emergency and it got in. So congratulations to them. It was a very easy win. And on Saturday, we had the Woolamai Cup. So congratulations to Graham Marengo, trained by Luke Oliver, ridden by Sean Cooper. Sean Cooper also rode a treble, so well done to him. Now, flying under the radar.
Hang on, another one to just go with that Graham Marengo. It actually went round in the Balnarring Cup.
It did. And ran 2 days later.
Doesn't seem to like Balnarring, and then got up in the Woolamai Cup, and very well got up in the Woolamai Cup too. It was a really good run and win.
Good training effort to have a horse run twice in 3 days and then win a cup. And flying under the radar, and I don't think anyone knew but himself, and it came out in a report during the week that Razor Ray Douglas rode his 800th winner as a 61-year-old. What a fantastic feat that is.
Absolutely. It was a huge effort. It's big enough effort for the pros and that to be able to get to it racing every day of the week all year round. But to be able to do that in picnic racing, that's a massively huge effort. So massive congratulations to him.
Good.
None of us knew until pretty much on the day. So it was a very well kept secret.
Fantastic.
So look forward to catching up with him and
we're going to try and get him on next week's show if you're watching it this week, Ray. So we'll be contacting you. Now, speaking of pros, and we've had some fantastic guests on this show, Danny. This guy's up there with the best. We have got Peter Hutcinson, outstanding, remarkable, awesome jockey who won a Caulfield Cup on Fra back in '93. Thank you for joining us, Peter.
Great to be here, Paul. Yes, and Dan, good to see you working hard.
Good to see you quite comfortable, nice and warm in your office there, Hutchie. Well done. Well played.
Well, I've actually, her indoors sent me out just outside to cook the steaks in the rain. So I just had to cook dinner in the rain, so I got soaked as well. But I'm not worried about laying there with my hoodie and my blankie on my knees.
If anyone's ever had the pleasure of meeting Peter, he's one of the nicest, friendliest guys you'll ever meet. And when I met Peter was at the Picnic Awards last year, and he actually come up and introduced himself to me. And I thought, this guy's, as I said, probably a bit of royalty when it comes to racing, but he doesn't obviously put himself up in that pedestal, and he come up and introduced himself, and I thought, what a wonderful man. Now, Peter, we're going to talk a lot about your life in racing and that. So we'll cover what you're doing at the moment. So you're a bit of a mentor for the picnic jockeys.
Yes, basically, Paul, my job is similar to what Darren Gouchy and Alf Matthews do with the apprentices. The difference is I'm part-time with their full-time. So because the rest of the week I'm the stay-at-home dad. I'm the mangina, as they say. I've got 2 kids. Two
I
kids
haven't heard that
and-
one before.
well, mum works full time, and so I do look after the kids and do all the school drop offs and all the school things, and so like a full time job doesn't suit me. So this is just perfect. I get in the car on a Saturday, off to the races. I get away from the kids for a day and regain my sanity. So,
Hutch,
this,
for the rest of
this
us
is
who
perfect.
don't know, how old are your kids now?
9 and 11. So,
Entertaining ages?
sorry, the pony.
Entertaining ages?
Oh, entertaining, yes, yes. Well, the little girl who's watched Ride Like a Girl about 100 times and wants to be the next Michelle Payne, and I call her Google because she knows it all.
Looking at their stature now, Pete, do any of them look like they're going to be quite small and could be a jockey?
Yes, Charlie, the little girl, she's a little pony, and she's just started riding lessons, and the horses are taking good advantage of it. They're doing what they like at the moment. It's quite entertaining. but yeah, she's keen. But we'll see what happens after she's been landed on her ass a couple of times and see whether she gets back on. That'll be the test.
Yeah.
Always
Henry,
is.
the boy's he's a bit bigger, and he's more like an insurance accessory. He's very risk adverse.
So you try to get to the picnics as much as you can, Pete, to watch them ride?
I'm there every meeting
You are? Wow.
except I don't do the far flanks. I won't be at Buchan or Swiss Creeks or Omeo, but everywhere else I'm there. Can't start the show without me.
Yep.
So I'm there every meeting.
Fantastic.
We
And if
do
any of the,
need to try and convince him to come up to Buchan and those sorts of places. Bring the family, have a weekend away, go to Lakes Entrance. There's
Have
some
you been
brilliant
away with
seafood
kids?
places and stuff up there.
Danny,
Mate,
have
there's
you been
plenty
away
of them.
with
They'll be
kids in the
right.
car? No.
I'm going up to Dedarang this year, Peter. You're more than welcome to jump in the car with me, mate.
I did Dedarang 2 years ago. Fantastic meeting. That was an absolutely fantastic meeting. But then I did the 5-hour drive down to Wollomai the very next day. So that was a test. But it was good fun. It was good fun. I had a ball.
Good on you.
It's a very picturesque track, Dedarang, isn't it, Hutch?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It'd be interesting. Very, very interesting to ride. But Sissy, you last year had your tumble there, Dan, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I think, was that the year that you were up there, was it?
No, I was the year before.
You were the year before, yeah.
Yes,
So,
yes.
no, it's a ripping place. It's definitely a bit unique to ride.
Yeah.
Look, Buchan's a bit the same as well. So some of those faraway places are a little bit special for their own quirks. But the hospitality in some of those places are absolutely sensational. They're second to none. They're great.
Yeah, we had a big night at the pub after the races. It was a very big show, good band, and yeah.
Yeah, it's famous, the Dedarang pub after the races.
I was under the wing of Henry Brewer, chief steward up there. So that was a very entertaining night.
Now,
it would have been.
I haven't seen Danny on a big night, Pete. Is she when she has a few drinks, does she go a bit crazy?
Oh, she gets the Rick or Lacey eyes.
Come on, no, I don't. When have you seen me have a big night?
You've heard that song, She's Got Rick or Lacey eyes.
Now, you two.
Oh, I love it.
Come on.
Hey, she's training one of my horses at the moment, mate. So any dirt you've got on her is great.
You be careful, it'll get slugged onto your bill.
No, don't say anything, Pete.
Got more shoes than Imelda Marcos.
Thanks.
You're a legend, Pete. Now, let's go back. And you've probably been asked this story so many times, mate, and I'm sorry, but this is what we always ask people. We get them on the show. How did you first get involved with horse racing?
Well, I'm Ron Hutchinson's son.
Okay.
So old legend for old Australian Hall of Fame and legend. He's still going strong too. He's 95.
Wow.
Living proof that only the good die young.
Yep.
And he's firing on all cylinders. He's in really good order. So
he's firing on more cylinders than he knows what to do with.
Oh yes, exactly, exactly. We put him on Viagra. It's just to stop him rolling out of bed.
And if any kiddies are watching, we'll talk. Ask your
Don't
mum and
ask any
dad.
questions.
Yeah. So when Dad was in England through the 60s and 70s when I was born, and so as a little boy, I used to go and sit in the jockey's room with Dad, sitting there with the likes of Lester Piggott and Jeff Lewis and all those legends from the 60s and 70s, and that's all I wanted to be. I just wanted to be, and made up my mind from a little kid. Although Dad used to tell me, he said, "Son, you'll never be a jockey as long as you've got a hole in your ass." So he said, number one, you're too bloody lazy. He said, you're that lazy you think mow the grass is a Jewish informer. So when I rode my first win, I rode home and addressed it to Peter Hutcinson's father and told him it had healed up. So that was my introduction. I started when I was about 12 with the ponies at a local old jumps trainer that was split down our local town, and I learnt on these rough ponies and donkeys. I was a champion donkey jockey, and I rode a winner over the jumps in a donkey race. I only won that because the kid that was 10 in front coming to the last came up at the last. I got up and got the money. I got the money anyway. But then when I was about 17, I came to Australia to do a bit of work experience. Went to Lindsay Park with Colin Hayes, and after about a year, I was only going to stay about a year. Then after about a year, Colin said, "Why don't you have a ride before you go home?" And I said, "Well, if I have a ride, it means I'll be going back halfway through a season. Bugger, I'll stay another year." So I ended up being the leading apprentice that year and basically stayed. So I've been stuck here ever since.
Wow.
I did go back and do stints. I did stints back in England, a few stints back in England through the 80s, and got a lot of good experience there, and rode on in Europe. Rode it in. I used to go over on Sunday, the days before Sunday racing. Used to go on Sunday to Holland, and which was a bit like riding at the picnics.
Yep.
They used to put the gallops on in between the trots to keep the punters.
Trot races.
Yeah, the big trotting and so they have three gallops and about 10 trots. So,
yeah.
But it was good experience. It was good fun.
Are they the trots races when they don't have the sulkies? They're actually sitting on their back?
No. It's all.
Okay.
It was the.
I think it's France, isn't it, Danny? I've seen late night racing. I think France have races.
There's a few places through Europe that do it. What a lot of us don't see over here is, and Hutch, you'll can fill us in a bit more with that, but in all of these European countries, they often run the trots and the gallops on the same day, and Shetland pony racing and that sort of thing is massive through England and Europe. It is, isn't it, Hutch?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, it's all a good bit of very entertaining. It's very entertaining.
And the kids come out dressed in their silks. They've got dapples and checkerboards and that done in glitter and stuff all over their ponies to go out for the Shetland pony races. They have Shetland pony steeplechase races. Like, it's such from Groundhog Day, like from when you're a little tacker, it's so ingrained in every kid that rides over there is the racing and the jumps and the hunts and stuff. It's just a totally different level to what we have here.
And do the kids win money in the Shetland pony races, or is it just trophies?
Oh, I think it's just. I think it's trophies.
I think it's just trophies and bragging rights.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
But let's be honest, what kid doesn't want to win?
The donkey race where I won the jumps race. We had my trainer. He was a steeplechase trainer. He was old Jack O'Donoghue. He was about 80 years old and very, very dry humour. He was a bit like old Jim Houlihan. But he had about 7 very slow steeplechases, but he also had the donkey was a champion show donkey, but the jump like as good as a pony. And there was this once a year meeting, Wibblesville Green it was, where it was a full-on proper race meeting with prize money, colours, bookies. It was full on.
Yep.
So we took this donkey thinking it was a good thing. I was about 14 and I had a big weight for age advantage because I was so much older than the other kids, but so much lighter. I thought this is just a good thing. And of course, what did donkeys do? He just followed the others around. And
Yep.
The first two races, we'd done our money, and coming to the last, and of course, it was just following around again. And of course, the kid fell off at the last, and I got up and got the money, so it saved the day. But it was, it was, yeah, that's where I learned to ride.
And also,
ridden a
another
few
thing that a
donkeys
lot of
since
people
then,
don't
too.
realise is that donkeys are such a common thing to learn how to ride on over in England, aren't they? Like everybody who rides ponies has probably started on a donkey at some
Probably done
stage.
donkeys, and of course it's a different ball game entirely because it's a different centre of balance, and you got to, instead of leaning forward, you've got to sit back, and it's quite it's good experience, very good experience.
I tell you what, over the years, I think I've backed a couple of those donkeys.
Yes.
All right, Pete. So your involvement in picnic racing, it's a paid
Yeah.
job by the VRC. It's obviously something you're very, very passionate about.
Yeah, I love it. When originally I had a career-ending accident 10 years ago, coming up New Year's Eve 2012, and not about a year later they introduced the Apprentice Jockeys Cup, and I applied for that job, but I missed out on it. But then they offered me the job doing the picnics, and it actually suited me a lot better, as I say, because I'm the stay-at-home dad. The full-time job wouldn't have worked in with the living arrangement, working in living arrangements. So picnics was just perfect for me. I still get to pass on 45 years of experience to be ashamed to be an absolute tragedy to waste it. So I enjoy the teaching side of things. I do a bit of work with. I've been working with TAFEs and doing a fair bit of teaching stuff. So I enjoy the teaching side of it, and this is, I'm still involved with the racing. It's my passion. It's my love, my passion. So it's great fun.
Good on you, Pete. And I've got one last question before Danny's probably got a few more. Who do you follow on the footy?
Well, now this is I'm in a house where her indoors is fanatical Hawthorn. So, and when I say fanatical, raving lunatic, insane fanatical,
Right.
especially if they get to finals, I might as well not be here. And my opinion isn't wanted or warranted because apparently I don't know anything about football, and I should keep my opinion to myself. So I grew up in Adelaide when the Crows were formed, so I'm a non-practicing Crows supporter.
Ooh, okay. All right. All right.
Not like a non-practicing Catholic. I'm a non-practicing Crows supporter.
All right, we'll let that one alone, especially at the moment.
Absolutely.
Danny, go for it, mate.
Look, I'm going to reel off a few different questions just to try and get a little bit of a history on Hutch, because it seems a shame because you've got such a wealthy racing background as such. So, yeah. What was one of the biggest things about moving out here and starting up at Lindsay Park for you?
Oh, well, it's coming up 40 years since I've been in Australia, because I came out at 17.
You just gave away your age then.
Oh, no, I'm getting old.
I'm not far behind you,
so
mate.
youthful. No, the plane was delayed 2 hours while I swept the snow off the wings at Heathrow, and I arrived on Ash Wednesday.
Oh, wow.
I arrived on Ash Wednesday. They opened the door of the plane. It was 45-degree north wind gale. It was like landing in hell.
Welcome to Australia.
As a little kid from England, I've never experienced a hot wind. if the wind blows in England, it's coming off the sea, so it's always cold. And all of a sudden, I've got this hair dryer in place. I said, what the hell have I got myself into? And then in the afternoon, when the fires started and it was raining ash, I thought, Jesus Christ, what the hell is this place? So that was a big thing for a little naive 17-year-old kid, never been away from his mother, to come and break out and travel the other side of the world all on my own. And it was good.
And you would have stood out being as pasty white and all the rest of it as you would have been too.
Looked like a little 12-year-old kid, little tiny 12-year-old kid. And so that was good. Went straight to Lindsay Park and that was up at Angaston, Lindsay Park, Angaston. That was a great experience and great crew of people that are still to this day. Everywhere you go around the world, you run into people that worked at Lindsay Park, and we're a very big family.
It does seem like that, and Tracy has said that. Yeah.
Yes, it is. It's like it's a real. It's a camaraderie and a family.
Yeah. So working there, where else did you ride track work and that sort of thing? What sort of places did you enjoy?
Oh well, of course through the Adelaide Lindsay Park days. That's all over there. I just did Lindsay Park. We were too far away to go anywhere else. So, but then when I swapped jobs in '91, I swapped jobs with Gary Clark, and he took my job in Adelaide, and I moved into his shoes here in Melbourne and rode number 2 to Michael Clark, and then from there we were based at Flemington, but then I'd go and do whiz down to Caulfield. When I was finished at Flemington, I'd whiz over to Caulfield and used to ride work for Russ Cleland there. And so trying to build up my
CV.
My clientele. And so I love Caulfield because I live in Brighton, so it's my local track. So in the later years, I sort of ride work at Caulfield for when I made my comeback, because I've had a few retirements and comebacks. When I made my comeback, I was riding for Aquanita, for Robert Smurden at Aquanita at Caulfield, which was just perfect.
Yeah. So what are some of your favourite racing memories?
Oh, favourite racing memories. Well, Adelaide Cup, probably my first winner. The first winner was always good, but the first Group 1, there was nothing better than the Group 1. And Water Boatman in '89 was winning the Adelaide Cup was my first big one, and that was a big thrill. But I think that was actually Sheikh Mohammed, and I think it might have been Sheikh Mohammed's first Group 1 in Australia, and was Colin Hayes' first Adelaide Cup as well. So it was a big event.
That was a bit special.
Yes, it was good, because apparently my dad rode Sheikh Mohammed's first winner. So
really,
so that's covering a few years. Yeah,
absolutely.
So Dad was his first winner, and I was his first Group 1 in Australia. So, and of course, then winning the Caulfield Cup, was the ultimate. That was the biggest win. That was Fra in '93. I was under a fair bit of pressure that day. Michael Clark and I were on the outer with the stable a bit. They were the stable was having a bad patch, and they were looking to get rid of us. And sure enough, I handed it to them on a plate on the Wednesday before the Cup. I was riding Marrakesh in the Punji, and Davis led me on. He said, he said, this thing's 31 but can win, and we're backing it. Well, I've got the race shot to pieces, home for all money. The thing's going to win easy. It's qualifying for the Cup in 3 days' time. So the last thing I want is to, flog it to the line. So I put the whip away, rode hands and heels, and Silk Harley's got up and down me right in the line.
Oh, no.
I was absolutely devastated. Just got me right on the post. I've come back in. David wouldn't talk to me. CS has torn strips off me and just ripped me a new one. And I'm devastated, absolutely devastated. So I get to the track, but I get to the track in the morning and just still ready to hang myself. But David says, "Oh, don't worry about it. That was yesterday. Don't worry about it. Just worry about the next one." So that's a bit too easy for my liking. And we went to our big owners, Peter W. Lesgord had a Calcutta, a Cubby's Calcutta. So we went to the Calcutta, and I'm up with Ray Benson going through what I was writing the next day, had a full book, and I glanced over and I saw CS glare at David, and David just went, and I was, they've shouted me. These bastards have shouted me. And sure enough, I got the paper the next morning on the way to the races, and here I am. I've been taking off everything I was riding from the stable, except for Fra. And the only reason I was still on Fra was that the rides had been declared on the Wednesday morning before the Coonji handicap. So I was only on him because they couldn't take me off. So I went into the Cup, not only trying to win a Cup, but trying to save the job as well. So it's what you call a fair bit of pressure.
And if I remember,
absolutely, wow.
If I remember rightly, Peter, Fra was very big odds too.
He was, but he should have been. I reckon probably 7 or 8 to 1 shot.
Yeah, it was
30 to 1. He should have been. His form was deceiving. He'd missed. It was a barrier road. It was a shocking. It was a bastard in the gates, and he'd gone.
He
off.
Always blew the start. He was a shit.
We used to try and dive under the front with his party trick. He was a bastard thing. So he went off and got scratched. I think it might have been the Queen Elizabeth at Flemington, mile and a half race. And so it was just one run behind all the way through his prep. And he went into the Herbert Power on the Saturday before the Cup, and there was a tearaway leader in the race, and he dragged the rest of the field up. It was run like a 1,400-metre race. And he dragged the rest of the field up and had a really hard, really gut-busting run. And he finished 7th, but it was all those great vintage fronty ball, those one-pace plodding types, 2-mile type horses went over the top. And he ran 7th, and it looked disappointing on paper, but it was a really good run. And we knew that just topped him off. He was perfect for the Cup on the day. So I was actually quite confident that we were going to be in the money on the day. Of course, I got the perfect run. Gave it the greatest rider of all time. I don't say so myself. But it was just, it was a perfect run, and he just hung on. He was a horse that it was a really good 2,000-metre horse. Just got the mile and a half. So just fell in by an inch. So when I got back in on CS had come to meet me at the gate, and I just said to him, "Am I forgiven?"
Well said, Pete.
Priceless.
That's good.
Yeah.
Absolutely priceless.
Danny, we've just under 4 minutes left, mate. So
yeah, I was going to say we'll be nearly out of time.
We are.
Of your overseas tracks, Hutch, what are some of the favourite places that you've ridden at?
Oh, Sha Tin, Happy Valley. The Hong Kong tracks were fantastic, especially Happy Valley of a Wednesday night with 30,000 sort of hovering above you, 7 stories high. They're great tracks. Some of the tracks in England, riding at Epsom and Newmarket and
how big are those hills?
Oh, yeah, we're coming down the hill at Epsom, around Tapman Corner, around the tight bend, and it's similar actually of Oakbank. Oakbank was always a great thrill to ride at. That was down like a hairpin bend down a steep hill. That was good exciting track. But there's some good places.
All right.
Absolutely brilliant. I'm going to have to go because Paul's going to cut me off in 2 seconds because we've got to say hi to Chris and thanks very much for Picnic Bet.
Of course, we love Picnic
following
Bet.
us through for the season. But thank Pete for joining us, Hutch.
Thanks, Pete.
It's my pleasure. It's been great fun.
Much appreciated. I didn't go through the premierships before, Danny, so we've got Sean Cooper on 14, Mel McDonald on 10, and then we've got Tyson Barton, Jack Begona and Lee Taylor on 7. So Sean's just had a little kick away there. And trainers, Troy Kilgour with 7, Don Dwyer 6, our good friend Reg Manning on 4, Reece Goodwin 4, and Tony Carter-Smith 4. So the trainers' premiership's still up for grabs.
Absolutely. It's all up for grabs this year.
Yep. All right.
And Mel's McDonald's riding very well at the moment.
Absolutely.
Really coming to her own. Doing very well.
She needs to get more rides. All right. As you know, Pete, our good friend Chris always comes in at the end and says hello. And he was having a good listen to this interview on the background, and at the start he heard where you live. And for people that don't know, Pete lives in a very well-atoned beachside suburb in Melbourne, starting with B. And Chris obviously visits down there a lot, but he hasn't seen you in any cafes or anything like that, Pete. Do you get out much down there?
No, I'm not allowed out.
Not allowed out, because sometimes
there's a reason for that.
I walk my dog. I've got a new dog. I live next to Dendy Park, and I get out and walk my. I've got a new Labrador.
Okay.
So it's taken me 10 years. My old dogs died years ago, and Mum said, "I'm getting old. I don't want it. I'm wondering I want a baby." And so it's taken me 10 years to get my puppy. So now I'm back walking my dog.
So he's got a couple of big events down there in the next few weeks. He wants to know if he can crash the night.
Oh, don't see why not. I've just built a new house with a guest bedroom, so he can go there.
All right. As what happens with him when he enters houses, the wives get a little bit frisky, mate. So just warning you just got to keep an eye on him.
Yeah.
Hutchie, don't let him astray with your...
Good luck. The old mare cow kicks.
Watch out, Hutch. Don't lead him astray. We don't need him getting locked up because you've been feeding him alcohol.
No. Good on you, Pete. Absolute pleasure and an honour having you on, mate. And must thank our good friend Tracy Johnson, who contacted you first to see if you're interested in coming on. And good on you, Tracy. We appreciate that. Again, you know, we always say this to a really good guest. We'd love to have you on again, Pete, at some stage. There's so many more questions we can ask you, mate. And oh, I know, mate. I know. Looking forward to it. Thank you, guys. Thank you again, Danny. Stay dry.
No worries, guys. Oh, well, it's nice to be warm inside. Stay out of the rain, everybody. Stay safe, and we'll catch up with you all Saturday.
All right. No worries. Good luck to everybody. Good luck to everybody. If we're running on Saturday, good luck to everybody.
Come on, we are. Think positive.
Okay. All right. We're running on Saturday. I'll see you all then. Okay. See you
Catch
later,
you later.
guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.